Hey everyone, welcome to the Wargaming Parrot. I'm David and today we're going to be doing my next Q&A. I know a lot of you have been asking for it, sorry it's taken a while, but there's been lots going on, so without further ado, Q&A time. Now I've tried to answer as many of your questions as I could. There's a couple I couldn't, and especially if you ask lots and lots of questions from one person, it wouldn't be fair on others if I covered them all because there wouldn't be enough time. So I've tried to pick a couple of questions randomly. In future, you can hear Chip and Fish screaming a lot, so they're very excited. In future, if you have multiple questions, either limit it to a couple or simply just let me pick which ones if you don't mind me doing them at random. Also, if you want a shout out, I don't mind doing them during these Q&As, so do message them for future ones too. So, my first question is, aside from some conures, do other conures have a loud scream? Yes, they do, especially Olive when she's alarmed or excited. She has a very piercing alarm call. All conures can generally be very noisy, but it depends on their mood. Some conures I think are generally one of the noisiest though. Next question, how do I introduce foraging to an inexperienced young conure? It's a good one, this one. So I would take it like any other sort of training experience. You need to get them used to it. Say, for example, you set up a little foraging tray for them and just put lots of treats in there, reward them for being near it, reward them for interacting with it and throwing stuff around, maybe use their favourite toy or targeting. So just introduce them to it and just slowly ease them into it, and eventually, like we did with Olive, they'll start seeing, oh, this place equals nice treats and fun times. So they will start foraging in it. Can any of your birdies talk? So Fish likes to copy the Alexa. He keeps saying that word. Chip started to say his name, but doesn't say it as much anymore. Olive doesn't really talk. Pickles doesn't. Scampy tries to copy his name and tries to copy his Pickles name, which is quite cute. So yeah, some of them do, some of them just can't be bothered. So I'll roll these two questions into one. Do you like Amazon or African Greys better? Do you like macaws or cockatoos better? I think I like Amazons better, although African Greys are awesome. And I think I like macaws better than cockatoos again, even though I think cockatoos are awesome. I like both, but I think those two win out for me. Next question is, what is the best cage size for cockatiels? Bigger the better. I've got a video on like cages and stuff, which I'll leave a card for now. Which veggies should I be feeding my parrot and how do I get them to eat them? Well, you want a sort of a nice balanced mix of veggies. There's all kinds of sources online and guides, and you want to provide your veggies ideally in a chop, although you can provide them in big like kebab sticks and stuff. There's just too many to cover in the Q&A question. It's like almost a video in and of itself. How do you get them to eat them? Sophie has an awesome video on that, which I'll leave a card for now. It's just literally on how to get your birds to eat veggies. So, one of the personal questions, who is the cuddliest bird? Now this is a tough one. I think it's between Olive and Pickles, because Olive absolutely loves cuddling. She will sit on me and she just wants to be cuddled and petted, but Pickles also loves snuggling up as well. So I think if I had to choose now, Olive is probably the cuddliest bird. What is our favourite wood for perches? Now this is a tough one. We prefer sort of natural perches with the bark on so the birds can strip it, but there's like, I always forget the name, there's one called Manzanita I think it is. We can't actually get that in the UK, but I think that's one we tried and we really love. It's such a shame we can't get it. So yeah, I'd say that's probably our favourite. How much is a cockatiel supposed to weigh? That depends on the cockatiel, its age and all sorts of other factors. I think a general rule of thumb and range is between 90 and 110 grams. If it's within that range, it's generally going to be fine. If you have any concerns, you can always go and get checked from an avian vet and they can sort of tell you. You can also check by feeling their keel bone. I tend to do that with our boys by rubbing my nose on it, and you can see if it's very pronounced or if it's got muscles around it. That will give you an indicator of their weight. If I didn't have parrots, what animal would I own? I'd probably like to have dogs and cats. Very traditional, I know, but I really like them. I like reptiles. I'd have loads, but birds are our favourite. Next question is, how did everyone get their names? So Chip was decided by Sophie. She's decided based on his colour, she wanted to call him that. Then we sort of thought, what would we name Fish? And then we thought, well, he's coloured, fits with a theme, fish and chips, so it's a bit out there as well, so we named him Fish. Pickles got her name because it's cute and it's on the theme, plus she's green, like a pickle. Scampy, I decided on because Sophie wanted to call him Bean, but due to his personality, I thought Scampy fit the theme and it sounds like Scamp, you know, naughty. Olive, Sophie named because of her coloration, and that's how they got all their names very quickly. Next question is, Which is my favourite, fish or reptiles? I'd have to say reptiles. I find fish fascinating, I love sharks and stuff, but I do prefer reptiles. What is the biggest misconception in the bird community? Now this is a very good question, but also a very tough one because there's absolutely loads of misconceptions in the bird community in general. So to pick one is very tough. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably go for that birds need to be out and about all of the time. You seem to have this contrast of people that think that birds just belong in cages and don't need to go out at all, which is terrible, to people on the other end of the spectrum who believe that birds should never be in the cage and should be out all the time. If you have an aviary or a bird room, that's awesome. They should be allowed all the time. But generally, it's not good for the bird. It can cause all sorts of harm to them. We've had horror stories, and it's just unnecessary. If you make their cage a adequate size and make it like a room, and if when they are out, they are engaged, like the slogan of Marlene, engaged, not caged. When they are out, they're engaged properly and having fun. That is what's important. Obviously, the more time out, the better, but having them out all of the time, I don't think is good either. So you want that sort of middle ground, really, like a good 3-4 hours, or if you have the bird room aviary, as much as you want. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that issue. Please excuse the boys, it's morning, so they're quite excited, so if you do hear them, forgive me. I'm just going to let them crack on because they managed to enjoy themselves. What pellets are best for budgies? We only really recommend 2 types of pellet, and we don't really think a pellet is an essential to diet. It's something you supplement diet with, and we recommend Harrison's and Tops. Those are our recommended pellets because they generally have the best ingredients. If you have a pellet, you want to check it out, look at the ingredient list and make sure that the first 3 ingredients are not sugar, soy, corn or wheat, because those are all fillers and not very good for your bird. So next question is, getting my, basically I'll paraphrase it a little bit, sorry for whoever answered it, I just wanted to get it concise. Getting my conure to overcome a fear of hands and to stop biting me. This is a video in and of itself again, because conure biting is triggered by lots of things. I've got lots of videos on that. I'll leave a card for one of them here, just in case you haven't seen it yet. All I suggest here is watch the videos, because I can't go over it all. Maybe consider reaching out to our business if you're having a lot of trouble with it, and just keep working on training and bonding and making sure there's no excessive triggers and observing them. Can you hiss the tumbus? Yes, you can. We do it with all our birds. I know you're probably a fan of Alex and Dominic. So yeah, that's what we do. Next one's, can you suggest a diet plan for cockatiels without using pellets? Now, I think the person who asked this question already had their cockatiel on a very good diet. Generally, what we recommend for cockatiels is 60-70% chop, fresh fruit, that sort of thing, and then the other 30% made up of seeds, sprouted seeds, legumes, herbs, spices, flowers. You can have a little bit of pellet if you want to, but it's not necessary. So yeah, that's generally what I'd suggest for the average cockatiel. People say you shouldn't touch the back of a bird as it makes them bitey. Why? So there's 2 main reasons you shouldn't touch the back of your bird. One, it makes them bitey because it makes them hormonal. So if you're stroking and touching the back of your bird, you're kind of propositioning your bird by doing that. You're like, hey there, you know, American Pie style. The other reason really is if you're touching the back of the bird and they're looking in a different direction, distracted, it can surprise them, it can shock them, so they'll turn around and just bite you. It's quite a personal space for them. So generally, any touching, keep it around the head and neck and you're sorted. Next question, I mean, I don't think anyone has the answer for this. Why is Pickles so cute? She just is. I mean, look at her, she's just an adorable little creature. Next question, what is the best present you can recommend for someone who has a cockatiel? I mean, bird toys. If you want to get a gift for someone with cockatiels, get them bird toys. You can also get all sorts of parrot merchandise. I'll just have a look at my Amazon store. I'll leave a link in the thingy. Like, there's so many different lovely t-shirts, like with Cockatiel Dad and Cockatiels as dinosaurs. So have a look if you want some inspiration in that Amazon store. There's so many, and yeah, merchandise or toys for the bird. That's what I'd recommend. I thought this question was important to include, even though I contacted the person by DM. Do you think I'm cruel for keeping my cockatiel alone? So the short answer to this is no. I mean, some cockatiels are rescues or bought alone, that's fine. Generally, me and Sophie recommend you do keep your cockatiel or any parrot in pairs, so they have someone of their own species to communicate with. That is better. However, due to certain circumstances, that's not always possible. So if you do have a bird or a parrot alone, all that means is that you have to make that effort and fill that gap. So that means you're basically making that bond with them. So if you're spending extra time with them, making sure that you're interacting with them constantly, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the worst thing. As I said, it's better to have parrots in pairs, but it's not as if it's a crime to keep them alone due to various circumstances. Are the noises that chip and fish make taught or made up by them? I'd say a bit of a mix. So obviously we taught them some noises, they've picked up some noises from outside, they've picked up all sorts of noises, but fish regularly sort of sits there, especially when I'm sort of painting or doing other things, and he'll just sort of like make his own songs almost. He'll sit there and he'll sort of practice and make little noises. So I think it's a mix. They make up their own, but they learn some from us too. Do your birds wake you up early? Yes, especially in summer when it's nice and bright, they love screaming, they get excited in the morning, especially if they hear us stirring, we need to get up for the loo. So yes, they do. I must admit, Sophie's the one that tends to get up and deal with them, although it is me occasionally, but yeah, they do, and that's just a thing with parrots. Okay, this is an interesting one, odd one. Have you published books? I don't know if someone's been digging on Google. Yes, my old career used to be in university and I used to love writing. I used to love fantasy writing, fiction writing. So yes, I do have books and I've published them. I actually have some in my Amazon store. My latest one is probably the best one. Some of the other ones are a bit cheesy and old because I wasn't very experienced then. But if you do, I'd check out my book Anna. That's probably my best book. And if you like that sort of thing, supernatural stuff, you may enjoy it. This is a good question. What's your favourite thing about owning birds? I think my favourite thing is the training. That's the thing that I enjoy most with them. Like just seeing how they improve when, if they've had difficulties, seeing how they pick up things and how intelligent they are. I just love training them, especially, well, no, I can't say especially. I'd like training all of them and just seeing how smart they are. I think this question is an unfair one, but Sophie insisted I keep it in. Who is your favourite bird? I can't answer that question. I mean, I love them all. I think they're all adorable in their I'm getting tongue-tied because this question is so difficult. I think they're adorable in their own ways. I can't play favourites. So, which bird is your favourite from other bird channels? This was another tough one for me. I had to think about it for a while. And I'd say it's probably Vinny from Marnie McCohen's channel. I just think he's just funny and full of personality. Just the way he chats and the way he behaves, I think it's very cute and interesting. So, what have I got here? How can you make your bird's feathers shine? I'd say the best ways are keeping them on the best diet possible, making sure they're getting all of those vitamins and minerals, lots of sunshine, and just generally making sure they bathe regularly as well, just making sure they're nice and healthy. This is my last question. How to get a baby cockatiel to eat solid food like pellets? Now, me and Sophie don't really like to give weaning advice. This is basically weaning. So you generally want to keep them on the formula food for a fair while, and then once they start getting older you can start weaning them. I know a lot of breeders use millet because it's the easiest, which is probably why it's so popular, and you just try to get them eating millet. I would suggest getting advice from a breeder or someone more qualified for that, because while we're experts on behaviour and all sorts of things, we haven't raised baby birds, so while we know the technical stuff for it, it's better to get it from someone who's actually done it themselves. So that brings me to the end of the video. That's all the questions I had that I could cover. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I answered all of them well. I will do more Q&As in the future. I also plan to do live Q&As via Patreon as well. So do stay tuned, and I'll obviously always post on my community when a Q&A is coming up so you can ask me your questions. But in the meantime, from me and Olive, take care and have a great day.